Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel Islam is Science. Please do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. I seek refuge with Allah from Shaitan the accursed. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A book called The God Delusion, written by Richard Dawkins. I have this book with me. I will read it to you. An atheist himself, he does not believe in the existence of God or power or divinity exists. They deny God. Our discussion today will be focused on page 146 and 147 of this book. It states there are about 70 separate chemical reactions involved in photosynthesis. One biologist said it is truly a miraculous event. Green plants have been called nature's factories, beautiful, quiet, non-polluting, producing oxygen, recycling water, and feeding the world. Did they just happen by chance? Design is the only alternative to chance that the author can imagine. Therefore, a designer must have done it. And science is always, to this faculty, logic is also always the same. What he's saying is design is not the only alternative to chance. Natural selection is a better alternative. Indeed, design is not a real alternative at all because it raises an even bigger problem than it solves. Who designed the designer? Basically, he's asking a question, who designed the designer? In other words, who created God? I will try to answer this question as per Islamic literature, as it gives a very clear and superb explanation. Before that, I would like to bring to your attention one of the hadiths that is very important. Sahih Muslim, volume number 1, hadith number 350-216. Yazid bin al-Assam said, I heard Abu Hurairah say, the messenger of Allah said that the people will ask you about everything until they say, Allah created everything, but who created him? So this is not new to us. Prophet Muhammad already informed this about 1400 years ago. So let us see the topics that will be covered under who created God. First of all, let us see who is God and the Quran had to say about this. So Quran chapter number 1, Surah Al-Fatiha, verse number 2 to 4. All the praise and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of the Alameen, the most beneficent and the most merciful, the only owner of the day of the recompense. Quran chapter number 35, Surah Al-Fatiha, verse number 1. Allah is the originator of the heavens and the earth, and He increases in creation what He wills. Verily, Allah is able to do all things. Quran chapter number 40, Surah Al-Ghafir, verse number 62. That is Allah, your Lord, the creator of all things. When there are you turning away, how are you deluded away from the truth? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has originated and created everything that exists. He is our Lord and there is no deity except Him. He is the only owner of the day of the recompense. So how are you deluded away from the truth? He has created and shaped you in your mother's womb. So Quran chapter number 3, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 6. He it is who shapes you in the wombs as He pleases. So Quran chapter number 39, Surah Al-Zumar, verse number 6. He creates you in the wombs of your mother. How then are you turning away? So let me say something here. This is really important. When you ask any non-believer or atheist who created you, they will say our parents. So that's the wrong answer. They are your biological parents. They gave you birth, but they did not create you. They are not your creators. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your creator. In your wombs, your parents do not know how you look. What is the color of your eyes, color of your skin, color of your hairs, how tall are you, how tall you're going to be, and what type of physique you're going to have. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does know each and everything about you and exactly how you're going to look. Not only that, He knows everything about you. So as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created people of the earth, and they were very tall like lofty pillars, the look alike of which were not created on the land. So Quran chapter number 89, Surah Al-Fajr, verse number 6 to 8, it states very clearly, did you, O Muhammad, not see how Lord dealt with Ad, who were very tall like lofty pillars, the like of which were not created in the land? So above all, God, Allah is only one. So Quran chapter number 112, Surah Al-Ikhlas, verse number 1 and 2, He is Allah, the one, Allah Hus Samad, that is, He is the self-sufficient master. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only one, He is self-sufficient master. All the creatures need Him, He does not need anyone. He is self-contained, He neither eats nor drink. So Quran chapter number 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 255, He is the ever-living, the one who sustains and protects all that exists. Neither slumber nor sleep overtakes Him. He knows what happens to them in the world and what will happen to them in a year after. They will never compass anything of His knowledge except that which He wills. So His kursi extends over the heavens, and the kursi is a stepping stool to climb on the throne. So His kursi extends over the heavens and the earth, and He feels no fatigue in guarding and preserving them. So He is the highest, He is the greatest. So he is ever living, fatigue cannot touch him, even though he sustains and protects his creation. He is a protector. He created everything that exists. He is the creator. He knows what happens to them in the world and here and what will happen to them hereafter. He is the guardian and he is the preserver. So Quran chapter number 112, Surah Al-Ikhlas, verse number 3, he begets not, nor was he begotten. Let us discuss a little deeper into this. Begets is in the sense he has not generated or given birth to anyone in the role of either a mother or a father. He was not given birth by anyone in the role of either a mother or a father, but he is the creator of everything that exists. That means he is uncreated. No one created him. He is self-existing entity. In simple words, if the God or Allah was created by someone else, then Allah will never be a God, the one, because another God has created him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that God would be superior over Allah. So the idea or concept of asking a question as to who created God or who designed the designer is totally logical. That produces a never-ending chain link of references, a fallacy that never ends. In its essence, an unclosed, undefined, never-ending, infinite loop. Simply put, God does not have a beginning, he does not end. So Quran chapter number 57, Surah Al-Hadis, verse number 2 and 3. His is the kingdom of the heavens and the earth. It is he who gives life and causes death, and he is able to do all things. So, and it says that he is the first, that means nothing is before him, and the last, nothing is after him. He is the highest, there is nothing above him, and the most nearer, there is nothing is nearer than him, and he is the all-knower of everything. And he knows what is intimate, what is inside and outwards and inward. That means there was nothing before him, there will be nothing after him, because every creation will end, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who will be everlasting. He does not have a beginning nor an end. He is the first and he will be the last, the eternal. So Quran chapter number 55, Surah Al-Rahman, verse number 26 and 27. Whatsoever is on its earth will perish, and the face of your Lord full of majesty and honor will abide forever. So as per Quran, there is a definite start point and will have a definite end. Let us see what science have to say about this. So how did the universe begin? Does time have a beginning and an end? Does the space ever end? Einstein's theory of the relativity replies to these ancient questions with 3 startling predictions: that the universe is expanding from a big bang, that black holes so distorted space and time that time stops at the edges, and space itself contains some kind of energy that is pulling the universe apart. So observations confirm these remarkable predictions. Now, space.com says that the universe is expanding and that the profound consequences, if the expansion of the universe is carrying galaxies away from each other, then in the past they must have been closer together. So rewinding that expansion back far enough, and every galaxy must have originated at the same point in space and time. So that point is the Big Bang, the moment our universe was created. An expanding universe cannot be eternal, but it must have a definite start date. So what it means is space itself contains some kind of energy, mysterious, invisible, dark energy that is pulling the universe apart. That means the universe is expanding. Observations confirm this remarkable phenomenon. It all depends on the nature of the dark energy, the mysterious force that is causing the acceleration, expansion of the universe. If that expansion continues unabated, it could bring about the end of the universe sooner than you might expect, in a big rip where the fabric of space itself is torn apart. Now, a new sciencemagazine.com states that the big rip will unfold something like this. The space between galaxies will become infinitely linear as clusters begin to drift apart. Then the stars begin to drift away from their galaxies, and the planets drift away from their stars, and the moons from their planets. Celestial bodies will begin to explode as they pull themselves apart. So molecules and atoms will split, reducing the universe to its barest form until it finally cannot handle the pressure anymore. The fabric of space glitches as it tears itself apart. Reality would be reminiscence of the time before the Big Bang, when everything constituted nothing. So this proves that the creations have a definite beginning and a definite end. God does not. He abides forever. This is really important to understand. When someone states everything has a creator or has been created, it is in the reference to the creation or everything created. God is in the act of performing the creation. So in fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenges everyone to his sole authority. So Quran chapter number 35, Surah Al-Fatir, verse number 3. Is there any creator other than Allah who provides for you from the sky and the earth? How then are you turning away? So not only that he is challenging everyone to his supremacy, but he is showing his supreme ability to create, that he is able to create the like of them. So Quran chapter number 36, Surah Al-Yasin, verse number 81. Is not he who created the heavens and the earth able to create the like of them? Yes, indeed. He is the all-knower supreme creator. So our God, the supreme master, is not confined to anything as everything else is, because he is the one who has created the time, space, matter and everything that exists. To measure all these items, you need to have a physical dimension. He's outside, or he's outside the universe, so he's unmeasurable and free from physical restraints. Hence, none of these dimensions applies to him. God is self-sufficient, the self-existing and everlasting humble entity. If God is dependent on someone else, then he can never be a God. Assuming God has a limitation, that leads to various questions. If he did not do it, who did it then? And who does the things if he does not? Who is doing the things if he is not doing it? Who will do the things if he will not do it? These questions have been answered with great ease from Quran, chapter number 112, Surah Al-Ikhlas, verse number 4. And there is none co-equal or comparable unto him. There is no one equal to him, nor you can compare anyone to him, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a unique personality. So Quran chapter number 10, Surah Al-Yunus, verse number 4. It is he who created, he begins the creation, then will repeat it. So he is the one who has begun the creation, and he will repeat it. He knows how to do that. Quran chapter number 3, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 18. He maintains his creation in justice. So he is the initiator, he is the originator, he is the beginner, he is the creator, he is the guardian, he is the preserver, he is the protector, the maintainer and the destroyer. He is the Lord of the Alameen. That means everything that exists. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything that exists on their laws, the laws of universe, the laws of nature, laws for mankind, the laws of life and death, the laws of physics, chemistry, biology, etc. He does not follow the laws of his creation. He is not bound by these laws unless he incumbents upon himself. So God is a timeless beauty. He is not restrained or constrained by anything. He is incomparable. He is irresistible. For him, creating anything is very easy. If he intends a thing, he says to it be, and it is, and therefore he wills it. He says be, and it will be. So Quran chapter number 36, Surah Al-Yasin, verse number 82, his command when he intends a thing is only that he says to it be, and it is, because he is Allah, the one, the Almighty and the All-Wise. Even though we are trying to explain God's existence and his supremacy, and no one has created him, even then the scientists will argue it proves nothing, because we cannot measure anything by physical means, and they will ask you, can we touch him, or can we see him, or can we feel him? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is answering these questions. So see, the very first dimension is time. So let us discuss time first. Quran chapter number 6, Surah Al-An'am, verse number 96. He has appointed the night for resting and the sun and the moon for reckoning. Such is the measure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is Almighty. So therefore, when someone says, did all this came into existence by chance or natural selection, then the answer is no, it is by the design, because this is the measure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He measured it, he approximated it, he designed it, because he knows everything. The distance between earth and sun and moon, they are all set distances for the very existence of life on earth. The various natural phenomena that are occurring in the nature is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's design, and that is his gift. Life cycle, water cycle, existence of forests, mountains, rivers, oceans, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, birds or avians. We have very limited knowledge of few of them and no knowledge of others. So Quran chapter number 10, Surah Al-Yunus, verse number 5. It is he who made the sun a shining thing and the moon as a light, and measured out its stages that you might know the number of years and the reckoning. He explains the verses in detail for people who have knowledge. So first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not time bound. He is out of the time limits, because he created time for us. Time bounds or time limits are for us. For example, when we were not there, he created us and then gave life. Then he will make us die, and again he will bring back to life. Those are time bounds and time lengths. So a paper published in Philosophy Science, it states that according to the standard Big Bang model of the cosmology, time began together with the universe in a singularity approximately 14 billion years ago. So in this framework, the popular question concerning what was before the Big Bang is considered as meaningless, because is it as if you are asking what is north of the North Pole? So the Quran answers this question very easily. What was before Big Bang? The answer is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself was there before Big Bang. So based on Einstein's general relativity theory, it has been shown through experimental support that time is inextricably connected to space. That means time itself has begun along with the matter and space. The universe, including time itself, can shown to have a definite beginning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started the universe, including space, time and matter, when and where he willed it. By the way, Big Bang theory supports the verses of Quran, but we are not going to go into those details. We will discuss this later. As per one of the Hadis, Prophet Muhammad has said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is time. Sahih al-Muslim, Hadith number 2246e, Abu Huraira reported Allah's apostle as saying, do not curse time, for it is Allah who is time, because he is the first, therefore there was nothing before him, and he is the last, there will be nothing after him. So he is time, so do not curse time. So let us discuss the vision of Allah and human vision. Quran chapter number 6, Surah Al-An'am, verse number 103. No vision can grasp him, but his grasp is over all visions, and he is well acquainted with all the things. So let me try to explain this, what it means by vision here, and what Quran is talking about as per my understanding. Okay, with our naked eyes, can we see what is inside the earth crust, beneath the surface of the earth, or inside the depth of the oceans? For example, bacteria, living organisms or creatures that exist. The answer is no, you cannot see it. So with our naked eyes, can we see what is in the outer space, or what is inside the celestial bodies? Again, the answer is no, we cannot see it. But with the help of microscope, we can see the microorganisms, and with the help of telescope, we can see what is in the outer space. That is not the case with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can see what is inside the earth and what is beneath the surface of the earth and deep inside the ocean, and what is in the outer space and what is inside the celestial bodies without any help. In simple words, he can see what we cannot see. That means he is able to see what is above and beyond our limits, and these limits are set by him for us. So similarly, another example I can give you, are you able to see summer sun directly at midday or at noon time? You cannot see with naked eyes. Then how can you see someone who is millions and billions of times more powerful than sun in terms of light and heat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far superior than that. At one place, the Quran mentions about Musa alayhi salam has seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us see what it says. So Quran chapter number 7, Surah Al-Araf, verse number 143. And when Musa came at the time and place appointed by us, and his Lord spoke to him, he said, O my Lord, show me that I may look upon you. Allah said, you cannot see me, but look upon the mountain. If it stands still in its place, then you shall see me. So when his Lord appeared to the mountain, he made it collapse to dust, and Musa fell down unconscious. So when he recovered his senses, he said, glory be to you, I turn to you in repentance, and I am the first of the believer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appeared on the mountain, it collapsed to dust, it did not withstand the might and power of Allah, and Musa alayhi salam fell down unconscious. The words that have been used in the Quran to define this are falamma tajallaha rabbahu, that means but when revealed his glory, his Lord. There is so many meanings of the tajalla, and also means it shines in brightness. What Musa alayhi salam saw was the light or brightness or tajalli of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He fell unconscious. He was saved because he was a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the mountain did collapse to dust. So in my opinion, in fact, the appearance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not in his real form. His was incomplete appearance, as if it was a lightning. It was very intrigued. And he is a very, very intrigued personality, like he is a very mysterious and fascinating personality, and he cannot be seen by naked eyes. Let us discuss how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to us and how can we listen to him. So Quran chapter number 42, Surah Ash-Shura, verse number 51. It is not given to any human being that Allah should speak to him unless it be by inspiration or from behind a veil. A great deal of discussion will be done on inspiration, how unimaginable things have been done and will be done and being done through inspiration. The lexical meaning of the Arabic word wahi is secret inspiration, which is felt only by the one who inspires and the other who is being inspired with. The Quran has used this word both for the instinctive inspiration by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his creation in general, and for the revelation towards his prophets in particular. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends his wahi or his commands through inspiration to do wonderful work instinctively. So even to the humans, earth, and everything that exists in the universe, for them to function in accordance with his wish and will. For example, he inspires bees to produce honey, birds to fly, fish to swim, the newly born babies to suckle milk. Without wahi or inspiration, it would have been impossible for great discoveries and inventions to happen. So the spiritual influences or per se mental inspiration in the form of idea or through or plan or to do great wonders would never have happened. At one time or the other, every human being is being inspired. What we call is the sixth sense. The dreams of Prophet Muhammad that has been confirmed by subsequent events that came true. These experiences without the rightly guidance from the unseen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is impossible. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to us, and this is how we listen to him. So as per Smithsonian.com, scientists prove that telepathic communication is within reach. In a recent experiment, a person in India said hola or ciao to 3 different peoples in France. The greetings were not spoken, typed or texted. The communication in question happened between the brains of a set of study subjects, marking one of the first instances of brain-to-brain communication on record. Therefore, in Quran, an inspiration is between a supreme entity and his subjects, or when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks is from behind a veil, because you cannot see him with naked eyes. So let us discuss how we can speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how he listens to us. So Quran chapter number 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 186. I am indeed near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls on me. So let them obey me and believe in me, so they may be led aright. So Quran chapter number 42, Surah Al-Shura, verse number 25-26. It is who accepts repentance from his slaves and forgives sins, and he knows what you do. He answers those who believe and do righteous good deeds and give them increase of his bounty. So Quran chapter number 26, Surah Al-Shura, verse number 88 and 89. The day whereupon neither wealth nor sons will avail except him who brings to Allah a clean heart. Quran chapter number 91, Surah Al-Shams, verse number 9 and 10. Indeed he succeeds who purify his own self, and indeed he fails who corrupt his own self. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does listens to us, answers our supplication through our heart and soul should be pure. So the question is, how can you purify your heart and soul? The answer is by believing in him and obeying him, the result of which you can see is a good change in yourself, a betterment in one's personality. That's how he gives them increase of his bounty. Now let us see, can anyone touch Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The simple answer is that no entity can ever touch him. He who has created billions of galaxies, inclusive of billions of suns, planets, stars, those are billions of light years away, and who has created suns and other planets that are huge and powerful. A simple question is that, can you touch sun that is so hard? The answer is no. Then how can you touch someone who has unimaginable power, far superior and very complex? Above all, he himself is light. So Quran chapter number 24, Surah An-Nur, verse number 35. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The parable of his light is as if neither gets sun rays from east nor west, whose oil would almost glow forth, though no fire touched it. Light upon light, it is constantly glowing without any interruptions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides to his light whom he wills. He is beyond imagination. Let me give an example. As per NASA.gov, the recent research by NASA to enter the solar atmosphere, the paper states at one point the spacecraft Parker Solar probe dipped at just beneath 15 solar radii, around 6.5 million miles from the sun's surface. After so many years of research and with this sophisticated machinery, the mechanism, we are only able to reach so far near to the sun's surface. In general, can you touch a light? The answer is no. So scientifically asking a question, how can you see a light whose properties are unknown to us and who is out of our universe and beyond our reach? I'll give you another example. Sahih al-Bukhari, Hadis number 7451, narrated Abdullah, a Jewish rabbi came to Allah's messenger and said, O Muhammad, Allah will put the heavens on one finger and earth on one finger and the trees and the rivers on one finger and the rest of the creation on one finger. And they'll say, point out with his hand, I am the king. On that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala smiled and said, no just estimate have been made of Allah such as due to him. So let me ask you a question. Has anyone done that before, or can anyone do this? So the answer is no. No one has done that before and no one will ever be able to do that because it is impossible. Some people will say it is just a saying. So it can only be proven when we reach the day of resurrection. Until then, let us wait and see. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do that. It's a challenge he took upon himself. So Quran chapter number 39, Surah Az-Zumar, verse number 67, they made not a just estimate of Allah such as is due to him, and on the day of resurrection the whole of the earth will be grasped by his hand and the heavens will be rolled up in his right hand. So that is the exact reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is saying no one has a just estimate of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's personality. You cannot even imagine. In scientific terms, he is extremely complex. That is to understand an unavoidable mathematical equation who has undefined unknowns. We don't know his general limitations, including physical limitation. That means his loops are undefined and the loops are infinite. Its boundary conditions are unknown, hence he has limitless boundaries. It's a mathematical undefined uncertainty. So how can you touch such an entity who is out of our imagination and reach? So does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives any signs of his existence? After several hundred years of research, recently scientists are finding and proving that the verses mentioned in the Quran are absolutely true and correct. This research exactly matches with what is mentioned in Quran 1400 years ago. The simple question is, we can ask ourselves, is that how could an unlettered person, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was from a remote area that was bounded by mountains and desert, was able to tell the whole world through Quran and Hadis the unknowns that we are finding it now? These recent discoveries are based on research were impossible to be found at that time. Without the latest development and advancement in science and technology, it was impossible to measure it or find it. This in itself is the biggest sign of the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Apart from that, in several verses of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says these things of which he has given detailed explanation are signs for those people who believe and understand and are knowledgeable. So now the question is, can anyone feel or sense Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence? So Quran chapter number 42, Surah Shura, verse number 11. There is nothing like unto him, and he is the all hearer and all seer. So you cannot feel the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you can perceive his existence with your mind and heart by looking at the signs that are evident from and have been proven, right? These verses mentioned in the Quran are his proofs, his evidences, his verses, his lessons, his signs and revelations for the people who listen. That means those who think deeply and those who understand it and try to verify it and are knowledgeable. Another example is through this hadith. Sahih al-Bukhari, volume number 6, hadith number 4777. One day while Allah's messenger was sitting with the people, a man came to him and walking and said, "O Allah's messenger, what is ihsan?" That is perfection and benevolence. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see him. And if you do not achieve that state of devotion, then take it granted that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees you. So it is the state of devotion, a level of divinity that is required to achieve the feeling or sense of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence. In the state of consciousness or subconsciousness, his presence may be felt, but may not be in the physical form or standard acceptable 5 senses that are taste, smell, vision, hearing and touch, but in the form of 6th sense. Hope this helps to clarify some of our concerns and it answers their questions. So please do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. Inshallah, you will be able to see more of these type of videos. And at the close of my request is all the praise and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of the universe.